Welcome to the Everything Podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be recapping the 2024 and 2025 instalments of Classic Doctor's New Monsters, which is a range from Big Finish. I will explain what that series is, even though it is quite obvious. But before I do, I'm recording this episode on the 20th of February 2026, and I'm starting off by talking about Classic Doctor's New Monsters 4, titled Broken Memories, which was released in March 2024. So Classic Doctor's New Monsters features the first 8 Doctors, obviously the first 8 Doctors, obviously the first 7 of the classic series, and Paul McGann's 8th Doctor as featured and debuted in the TV movie, taking on and facing some new series monsters. Now, as you probably guessed, worked out there, that this is the 4th installment of Classic Doctor's New Monsters. As I've talked about in other when I've recapped other ranges, that kind of I'm only going to focus on the episode, on the releases that I have listened to. Now, I am only going to talk about releases that I've listened to entirely, not any releases that I've listened to halfway through, which I don't tend to do. I think there's one that happened with, so I won't be talking about that, but that's not anything to do with the Classic Doctor's New Monsters range or anything. So as I said, it was released on March 2024, and similar to Sometimes vs. Rootons, which, if you are listening to the podcast, is the last episode that released, but if not, obviously a different order. So let's read the synopsis, all the official stuff, then I'll show the trailer, then I'll let you know my thoughts on this release. So here's the synopsis. 4 new adventures featuring classic Doctors encountering monsters from the new series of Doctor Who. We start off with Invasion of the Body Stealers, written by Jonathan Morris. Visiting the city forest of Celestin, the 4th Doctor and Sarah encounter a crashing spaceship and race to find survivors, but not everyone they meet on the Colin world is in their right mind. The body hopping at Harmony Shoal have set their sights on invasion. We then have The Queen of Clocks, written by Jacqueline Rayner. The 6th Doctor and Mel come to the rescue when they find a castle under siege from clockwork droids. But in a kingdom run with painstaking precision, time is running out for the Queen of Gruen. We then have The Silent Priest, written by David K. Barnes. In search of Stalists from the Time War, the 8th Doctor is caught by rival criminals and the law in the City of Sunset. Who is the mysterious priest with the key to ending the violence? And if the Doctor really has visited Sunset before, why can't he remember? We then have kind of a prequel to that episode, I will explain more after you've heard the trailer, titled The Silent City, also written by David K. Barnes. Sunset City is thriving. The tourists are spending, but something about the place doesn't make sense, and the casino seems to be in the business of redistributing the wealth, not the easiest word to say. In the midst of it all, the 7th Doctor faces the consequences of actions he has yet to take. This episode was recorded, this release, it was recorded a while ago, the 1st of September 2020, as well as the 28th of May, 28th of June, 21st and 28th of July 2021, and stars Tom Baker as the 4th Doctor, Colin Baker as the 6th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor, Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, Nicholas Briggs as the Silence, Bonnie Langford as Mel, Sadie Miller as Sarah Jane, as well. I think I'm missing someone, aren't I? Unless they're not on here. No, that's it, isn't it? Because, yeah, the silent stories are the Doctors by themselves. So before I do spoil the events of Classic Doctor's New Monsters 4 Broken Memories, here's the trailer.
From Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, Classic Doctor's New Monsters, Broken Memories.
What was that?
An ore freighter heading directly for Sistelzen. It's on a collision course.
Giant grasshopper strapped into the driving seat. Oh, it must have been killed in the crash.
I was right. Yes, it is a human brain, but why put it in the head of a dead insect?
They are Harmony Shoal, and they will not be disembodied for long.
I suspect, are we alone, by the way, because we're dealing with some sort of cerebral endoparasite with the ability to animate the bodies of the dead.
The Catherine de Medici. Oh, you're a colony.
And going by the name, from Earth.
A group of droids breached the wall near the West Gate, Your Majesty. The droids came with the ship.
The droids maintained everything.
They all want to turn us into them.
They're building robots out of bits of people.
Stop, go, stop, go. Acquire resources. Rebuild, 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 rebuild.
This city, it is an unhappy place.
The place has seen better days, hasn't it?
We have met many times.
What? What are you?
Out of sight.
Out of mind.
2 years ago, this city was on the brink of tearing itself apart. Then suddenly, the fighting ends, crime plummets.
And now it's a flourishing holiday paradise.
Corruption. It's everywhere.
Fascinating. So, you disappear from a human's memory, do you? I take it you're going to kill me.
You have said that 5 times in the past minute. Time, Lord.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
That was the trailer for Classic Doctor's New Monsters for Broken Memories. So let's start off with Invasion of the Body Stealers, written by Jonathan Morris, which is the 4th Doctor and Sarah Jane story of the set, which also includes Harmony Shaw, which were introduced during the 12th Doctor's era of Doctor Who. So it is interesting. It does take a minute when you have to go Classic Doctors meeting new monsters. Is kind of one of those things that you just have to kind of, it does take you a minute. But yeah, this was, I remember really enjoying this episode, obviously it being basically 2 years since it was released. And I was just checking if I listened to it any later, so I think it's about 2 years, so I can't really remember much on that episode. But then we have The Queen of the Clocks, written by Jacqueline Rayner, which is the 6th Doctor and Mel story, featuring the Clockwork droids introduced during Series 2 of the new series of Doctor Who in The Girl in the Fireplace. And yeah, kind of is a really a new take on that species, and obviously the 6th Doctor not meeting them before. That kind of it's an interesting dynamic. Obviously, 6 Mel facing them, and obviously how that differs from the events of The Girl in the Fireplace, and kind of how the Doctor and Mel tried their best to help, but end up failing, I think, if I remember correctly. Then we move on to the kind of 2-part story featuring the Silence, titled The Silent Priest and the Silent City. It's an interesting one. They put the 8th Doctor story first and then the 7th Doctor. Normally you would expect it to be the other way around, but obviously the Silence that were introduced during Series 6 of new series Doctor Who kind of means that when you see them, you know who they are, and when you look away, you forget. So it is kind of an interesting thing, and we kind of have the same kind of supporting cast of sorts across those 2 stories. Obviously, seeing how the 7th and 8th Doctors interact with the Silence as well is interesting. Obviously, the 7th Doctor travelling by himself, and the 8th Doctor doing the same, but obviously the 8th Doctor kind of, because he didn't have an era as such, kind of on the TV minus his TV movie, that kind of his life is significantly longer, or we're led to believe it's significantly longer than some of his prior and future incarnations, because of, we don't know kind of when he regenerated. Well, we do now. So it's the TV movie, and when he regenerated into the War Doctor, but that's still a big gap. It's not like the 9th Doctor's life, which we've only seen 13 episodes on TV, so that's quite short in comparison. But yeah, this 2-part Silent story, obviously, I consider Doctor Who Series 6 of the new series kind of one of my favourite series of Doctor Who. And kind of having the Silence in there makes it, I don't know if that adds to it or not, or kind of, but it is, I like that. I know some people might say it's too complicated, but I really enjoyed it. So yeah. So without further ado, let's now move on to the other Classic Doctor's New Monsters release I'm going to talk about in this episode, which is titled Classic Doctor's New Monsters 5 Faithful Friends, which was released in January 2025 and has the following synopsis. 4 new adventures featuring classic doctors encountering monsters from the new series of Doctor Who. We start off with The Quillatine Fate, written by John Dorney. The TARDIS brings the Doctor, Jamie and Zoe to a planet where a secure research base is conducting disturbing experiments. A group of captive Quillatine are test subjects for military power, keen to understand the species' unique abilities. But who are the real monsters here? We then have The Dying Breed, written by Tim Foley. When the Doctor, Leela and K9 land on the Lupari homeworld tracking a temporal anomaly, they find a kingdom in disarray. The great Lord Garson's son has been attacked and strange beasts roam the frozen landscape. Whilst Leela spars with the new heir, the Doctor and K9 must work out how all these strange events are connected. This so they know that their discoveries will shake the Lupari to their core. We then have The Quillatine Relic, written by John Dorney. The TARDIS brings the Doctor and Ray to a space station cryogenic facility. When interplanetary VIPs are stored pending medical cures, there is a familiar face here too, someone the Doctor remembers, but who does not remember him. We then have 500 Ways to Leave Your Lover, written by Tim Foley. Chris is on a date, but it isn't working out. Perhaps he'll end it over dinner or a cruise or at a lunar spa, but who are these figures in red? And why are they so invested in his relationship? All of reality might be at stake, and the monks will pursue Chris wherever he goes, but as long as he manages to break up with his boyfriend, the Doctor, everything might be saved. This series was recorded on the 29th of April, 6th of June and 18th of September 2023. Still a bigger gap than usual, about 18 months between these episodes being recorded and released, but not as bad as the years that between recording and release on Broken Memories that the previous box set that we just talked about was. And stars Tom Baker as the 4th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor, Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, Michael Troughton as the 2nd Doctor, Sarah Griffiths as Ray, Fraser Hines as Jamie McCrimmon, Louise Jameson as Leela, Wendy Padbury as Zoe Herriot, Timothy Bentic as the monk, as well as John Leeson as K9 as well. So before I do spoil the events of Classic Doctor's New Monsters 5 Faithful Friends, here's the trailer.
From Big Finish Productions, the worlds of Doctor Who. Classic Doctor's New Monsters. Faithful Friends.
Gather round, my cubs. Tonight, I tell you the tale of what happened here.
If you are the creatures that injured my brother, you will be ripped apart like the animals you are.
The destiny of the Lupari hangs in the balance.
Now that does sound ominous.
We're really in the lunar spa. Not just a lunar spa, the lunar spa. You and the Doctor are booked in for the full couples treatment.
I think we may have company.
Figures in red.
They're the monks.
The groom is near. He cannot escape.
Your skin, it's grey and cracked.
We require the truth.
Hello? I'm called the Doctor, and you're in a lot of trouble.
Another mutation.
The famous Quillatine pens. How many would you say you had here?
Just a few hundred.
Hands in the air, now!
Oh dear. Not a good start, is it?
Does this sort of thing often happen to you?
Rather frequently.
What's going on here, Magda?
I don't know. A cryogenic facility. I wonder what Zoe's doing here.
So she's what? Undercover? Lying?
I don't know.
Oh, Ray. I think I might have just made a terrible mistake.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
That was the trailer for Classic Doctor's New Monsters 5 Faithful Friends, which was released in January 2025, and similar to the previous box set, Volume 4, Broken Memories. Kind of this box set, obviously featuring different new series monsters with the classic first 8 Doctors, the classic Doctors, facing them. But yeah, kind of there is a 2-parter which I'll get to in a second, but obviously a variety of monsters from the new series, from different series and Doctors facing them. So we start off with the Krillitane Feint by John Dorney, which is the second Doctor, Jamie and Zoe episode, which, and there will be huge spoilers, especially for this episode and the third episode as well. Well, kind of for the whole set, because it's just over a year, so I do remember quite a bit about it, and that trailer did help. But yeah, kind of this, we follow the second Doctor, Jamie and Zoe, who obviously are currently featuring in the second Doctor adventures, but we follow them kind of, we thought is a normal episode, just featuring a new series monster, but then about halfway through or towards the end, I can't quite remember, that it turns out that the second Doctor, Jamie and Zoe, that we've been following are actually the Krillitane, because they're shapeshifters, introduced in School Reunion, new series Doctor Who episode in series 2, which which reunites the Doctor with Sarah Jane and K9. Obviously more on K9 in the next episode, but yeah, that's it. So then we move on to The Dying Breed, written by Tim Foley. Speaking of K9, actually, which is the fourth Doctor, Leela and K9 story of the episode, obviously reintroducing the Lupari, which was introduced in Doctor Who Series 13 Flux. So I think as of time of release, this was the Series 13 was not that long ago. And obviously I think this was the first episode that featured this story. Obviously it features, as I said, the Lupari introduced in Doctor Who Flux, and this was the first kind of insight that Big Finish now had the rights to the 13th Doctor's era. Obviously throughout 2025 that changed with the Joe Martin stories featuring Joe Martin's Fugitive Doctor in the Fugitive Doctor series, obviously Sacha Dhawan's Master in the Call Me Master series, as well as the beginning of the 13th Doctor Adventures featuring Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor and Mandip Gill's Yaz. But yeah, kind of this again was really good, and Miriam Margolyes actually is featured in this as well, which is a nice touch. Then we move on to the Krillitane Relic, also written by John Dorney, who wrote the Krillitane Feint, the first episode in this box set, and kind of we don't know how closely connected these two episodes are until obviously this is the Seventh Doctor and Ray story of the set. So we're like, oh, it's different Doctors. Is it just two stories featuring the Krillitane? Is that it? And then Zoe's also in it, obviously a second Doctor companion. Apart from it's not Zoe, it's the Krillitane version of Zoe that was appeared in the Krillitane Feint. So again, really good stories. And then we have 500 Ways to Leave Your Lover, which is the 8th Doctor story of the set, and this episode was also written by Tim Foley. CF, and kind of in this story, it turns out that the 8th Doctor now has a boyfriend, which is something that has not been explored in the 8th Doctor's timeline before, or not to my knowledge anyway. But I don't think so. And kind of the 8th Doctor's facing the monks, obviously introduced during Series 10 of new series Doctor Who. So again, different eras. Again, love the introductions of the monks in when they were debuted in Series 10, and obviously here kind of seeing them take on the 10th Doctor, obviously a very different Doctor to the 12th Doctor. It's again that, but yeah, again a really strong set here. So if you've not already listened to Classic Doctor's New Monsters, I would definitely recommend these box sets. But before I do go, obviously the 4th Doctor has been part of both these sets, and obviously as of time of recording, so the 20th of February, so yesterday, the 19th of February, obviously not yesterday when you're watching or listening to this episode, the trailer for the newest 4th Doctor Adventures box set titled Mystery of Death was revealed. So yeah, but before I do show the trailer, I will read through the synopsis quickly. Summoned back to Earth by the Space-Time Telegraph, the Doctor and Sarah Jane find themselves assisting their old friends at UNIT, not once, but twice. But exactly how willing will a Time Lord be to stuck in a single place once more? We start off with The title story, The Ministry of Death, written by Robert Valentine, which is 4 episodes long, where the Brigadier uses the space-time telegraph to summon the Doctor and Sarah Jane from their travels. They know it'll be for something unusual, but neither could expect something quite this strange. An electronics expert has died after being struck by lightning, but how could this possibly happen in his office? And that's only the first death they discover. A wild scheme is underway, a case of twisted science and revenge that's about to hit closer to home than they could possibly anticipate. Then we have The Inhuman Empire, written by Fullman Ryan, which is 2 episodes long. Sarah is contacted by an old friend who knows her predilection for rum goings-on, asking her to investigate unusual activities at the National Museum. Sarah agrees to look into it with the Doctor tagging along, but they soon discover things are worse than they thought, because the museum is host to alien activity, very familiar aliens at that, and if they don't stop these relic hunters quickly, then humanity itself might not survive. This set was recorded on the 23rd and 27th of October, the 3rd, 10th, 16th and 13th of November and 14th of December 2020. So this series has been recorded for over 5 years now, so that's interesting. But the cast does include Tom Baker as the 4th Doctor, Sadie Miller as Sarah Jane Smith, Christopher Naylor as Harry Sullivan, and John Coleshaw as Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. So before I do, I can't spoil it because it hasn't released for me. When you're listening to this episode, definitely, and watching potentially, this series will have released, box set will have released. So if you have listened to it, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. But yeah, before I end the episode, here's the trailer for the 4th Doctor Adventures, Series 15, The Ministry of Death.
I wonder what the Brigadier wants this time.
From Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, The 4th Doctor Adventures, The Ministry of Death.
Doctor, thank you for coming at such short notice.
Well, your space-time telegram said it was urgent.
Who are you? What do you want?
We have a bizarre, unexplained death on our hands.
Well, that's the peculiar part, Doctor. He was struck by lightning.
It happened in his office.
There's a twisted intellect behind this, Brigadier.
Go away! Leave me alone! Go away!
3 people have died in ways appropriate to their area of expertise. Driving, electronics, and now computing.
The battle has commenced.
You are meddling with a technology you don't understand.
I represent the National Museum.
I'm on strike, Harry.
I say. These artifacts will stun the world.
The obelisks, good lord, they're huge.
When this exhibition opens, the nation's great and good will flock to it.
Oh, these orbs carved on top of each obelisk. I've never seen an Assyrian monolith like it.
What does that mean?
Gifts from the gods that came to the land.
What are we dealing with?
Their empire will rise.
We're talking about an alien invasion.
They're controlling you, Bayliss.
It will rise.
Big Finish for the love of stories.
That was the trailer for the 4th Doctor Adventures Series 15, The Ministry of Death, and marks the first time that Sadie Miller as Sarah Jane Smith has been featured in a regular 4th Doctor Adventures box set, but only making appearances alongside the 3rd Doctor and then Smith and Sullivan, but kind of and the Lost Stories, kind of with Tom Baker's 4th Doctor and The Curse of Time, which was the special release. But yeah, that's it for this episode. So let me know what you thought of the box set of Classic Doctor's New Monsters, as well as the trailer for the 4th Doctor Adventures, The Ministry of Death, if you have listened to it. If not, just let me know what you thought of my recap. But without further ado, I will see you in a future episode of the podcast. See you then. Goodbye.